Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be something a little bit different to normal and a first for me on the channel here. Instead of talking about books myself, I'm going to be talking about other content creators instead. So let's go see who I'd like to shout about. So yeah, today's video, this is something that I've wanted to do for a little while, but I've always felt in the past that I'm not the right person to do shout-outs. I always feel kind of awkward doing it. Part of that is because I'm very much an introvert, despite the fact that I'm here in front of all of you guys on the internet. But I am definitely an introvert, and it just seems strange for me to be shouting people out because I'm not like this massive content creator with a great big platform and great pull or anything along those lines. But that's not what it's all about. It's all about me giving back to some great content creators in the community, the same way others have done for me as well. And I've said about it previously that I really appreciate when I've been shouted out by other channels, and I've seen the growth that my channel has had as a result of that. And it would be absolutely fantastic if I could help another Booktuber on that same kind of journey. So I've also been meaning to film this video for a couple of weeks now, but I was ill, so I wasn't able to film it when I'd originally intended. And over that time that I've delayed, I've kind of curated the list of content creators that I'm going to talk about today. So I hope that you appreciate the picks that I've chosen today and that you go over and view their channels. They'll all be linked in the description box below. Take a look at some of their videos, subscribe if you like the content that they're producing, because they are all great content creators. So eventually I've got it down to a list of 5 content creators who I want to shout out in this first video, but there are plenty of others who I subscribe to who put out great content on a regular basis, so I'm not going to talk about today for various reasons. All of these people are smaller channels below 1,000 subscribers who I personally think deserve to have a much higher subscriber count because of the great content that they produce. So because there's a range of channels in terms of both the age of a channel and the subscriber count, what I'm going to do is just run through, there's no favoritism, I'm just going to run through them in alphabetical order and just talk very briefly about the type of channel they are and what I enjoy about them. And the first one of these is a relatively new account. This is someone who I've spoken to quite a few times on Discord, and she's recently created her own channel. Her name is Kayla and she runs the channel Kay's Hidden Shelf, and I really like that. This is someone who has a similar taste to myself. She's read a number of the same books that I've read recently and enjoyed them as well, which is fantastic for me, of course, but I like the depth that she goes into in her book reviews, and she's got a really soothing voice that I appreciate as well. She's the sort of person who I could really listen to for a long time as she's talking about books and not get bored, because she's got such a nice soothing voice, unlike someone with the old harsh tones such as myself. So although she's got a bit of a fantasy bias in terms of her channel so far, because there aren't a great number of videos being such a young channel, Kayla also reads sci-fi, classics, historical fiction, so I'm sure in time you'll start to see some great variety in her channel as well. So shoutout number 2 is Liam from Limslyceum, also known, especially for those who've seen him on Discord, also known as Hemvor. Liam has another relatively new channel. He's been going for a few months though at this point, and he's putting out some great content. If you like the Forgotten Realms, if you like Dungeons and Dragons type content, he's a really good channel to be subscribing to because he loves those titles. And I think from what I've seen on Discord, he's going through a Forgotten Realms kind of spree at the moment where he's reading loads of those books, but he also reads other things in between as well. It's not just a Forgotten Realms review channel. As well as his book reviews and tag videos, he also does a Poetry Thursday, so if you're looking for something ever so slightly different and you want a bit of a fantasy basis with poems from Tolkien for instance, then this is a good one to be looking at. Shoutout number 3 is to Mel from Mel Lenore Reads, and first of all I will say that if you haven't noticed this already, since a very young age I've been unable to pronounce my THs but also my ELs, and they sound like ALs. So this is Mel M-E-L, not the M-A-L that it probably sounds like I'm saying. But that aside, this is a new channel that I've recently found. I think from looking at the video history, she had a channel originally and it's been kind of revived in the last few months, but I'm really appreciating the content that she's producing as well. And especially because at the moment it seems like we're at a similar place with some of the books that we're reading. So I originally found her just from YouTube recommendations, looking at her February wrap-up, where she'd read the first book in the Tides Child trilogy, The Bone Ships, which is exactly what I did in February as well. And she's also doing an Expanse read along with her father, where she just read book 2, which is the next one that I'm going to be reading as soon as I can get to that. So although she's a more eclectic reader than me, she does have a similar taste in some of the titles that she's reading at the moment, and she's hugging a copy of Malice in her profile picture, so what's not to like about that? If you like reading sprints, certainly recently at least, she's been doing loads of those on the channel, so there's lots to look out for. And randomly, I've just seen on Twitter that it looks like she's reading Ryan Carhill at the moment, so that's something that I really look forward to hearing her thoughts on. Next up is Chelsea from the Not So Secret Bookaholic. This is another booktuber who's been reading some similar titles to me at the moment, and again in February she read Cold from the North there, which is exactly what I did as well, and she's continuing, like I'm going to be doing soon, with The Darkest Dusk, which is the second book in the Onyxborn Chronicles. She's also another fan of Ryan Carhill, so we've got a lot in common in terms of some of the self-published fantasy that we've been reading and enjoying recently. Something that I've never felt comfortable doing myself is a reading vlog, and Chelsea does one of these on a weekly basis that I quite enjoy watching. Although it's not really my kind of thing, she also does book box battles where she compares the contents of different things like Illuma Crate and L Crate and things like that. So if you're interested in those, it's another reason to check out Chelsea's channel. And then number 5 that I'm going to recommend to you is Patrick from Patrick Ryan. This is another friend of mine from Discord who's having a really good fantasy journey at the moment. Again, he's quite an eclectic reader. He reads a lot of non-fiction as well as various different genres of fiction, but he's having a real good fantasy journey at the moment. And right now, at this particular point in time, he's having a self-published month as well. So for March, he's reading through, I think it's about 10 different self-published books, mostly fantasy. I think there's one, maybe two sci-fi in that list as well. But with the journey through self-published fantasy that I've had recently, that gives us a lot of titles where we're overlapping, and I'm really enjoying seeing how he's progressing with that. So there we have 5 very different booktubers who I really enjoy the content of, and I hope that you will enjoy them as well. If you haven't checked out these channels before, as I say, their channel links will be in the description box down below. Go check them out, have a look at some videos, give them a like, comment and subscribe if you appreciate the content as much as I do. So that's it for today, just a quick video. I just wanted to shout out and celebrate these people the way that people have given me a shout out in the past. It's my way of giving back to the community in a different way as well. So I hope that you found from this some new channels to appreciate. I'm sorry that it's not the usual book content that I put out, but at the same time these guys are in turn producing some great book content, so everyone still wins. For my part, I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Until then, as always, take care of yourselves, read some good books. Bye for now.